The 1918 Nobel Prize for Chemistry is probably the most important Nobel Prize ever awarded. It was given to German scientist Fritz Haber for solving one of the biggest problems humanity has ever faced. His invention is directly responsible for the lives of 4 billion people today. But when he received his prize, many of his peers refused to attend. 2 other Nobel Prize winners rejected their awards in protest, and the New York Times wrote a scathing article about him. He is simultaneously one of the most impactful and tragic scientists of all time. Perhaps more than any other single person, he has shaped the world we live in today. Part of this video is sponsored by Ren. More about them at the end of the show. If you are an American citizen and you find an island with a lot of bird poop on it, well then you can claim that island for the United States, and the US will have your back. The president is authorized to send in the Navy and the Army to defend your newly discovered poop-covered island. There are currently 10 American islands that were claimed in this way. And even though the law that made this possible was passed in 1856, it is still in effect to this day. So why did people want poop-covered islands so badly? There are a few dozen islands off the coast of Peru where millions of seabirds gather to mate. And the waters near the island are full of fish. And these millions of birds eat the fish, and then they poop. A lot. Since the region is hot and dry, this poop solidifies and accumulates over millennia. There are cliffs of bird poop 30 meters or 100 feet high. Technically, bird poop is called guano, and by the mid-1800s, buying and selling bird guano was big business. The price rose as high as $76 per pound.
Who wants
meaning
this?
You could trade 4 pounds of guano for 1 pound of gold. So why was there such a big market for bird poop? Well, to answer that, we have to look inside the human body. By weight, most of our bodies are made up of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. But the 4th most common element is nitrogen. Nitrogen is part of the amino acids that form proteins. It's part of hemoglobin, the compound that carries oxygen in red blood cells.
I mean, there's
and
way
it's
cheaper
a central
fertilizers
component of DNA and RNA.
than fucking 1-to-4 ratio
is
gold.
Essential for all life on Earth. We get our
4 to
nitrogen
1.
by eating plants, or animals which have eaten plants. And plants get their nitrogen from the soil. The problem is, if you farm the same soil year after year, you harvest the nitrogen out of it. And eventually, there isn't enough nitrogen for healthy plants to grow. They can't produce enough chlorophyll to photosynthesize, which stunts their growth. Their leaves turn yellow, and they are more susceptible to pests and disease. Crucially for farmers, nitrogen deficiency means smaller yields. The way to fix this is to add nitrogen back into the soil, which is where bird guano comes in. Guano is up to 20% nitrogen. Hundreds of years ago, Incan farmers realized that adding guano to their soil made crops grow taller. This is what allowed them to grow food in places that were previously unfarmable and expand their empire. South America's rich...
Well, now you know. Trivia!